Hello, being in the alarm industry for 32 years and having a rep firm for 20 years, I often get people ask, hey, tell me, how do you get a door knocking program going? You know, who's the best you've ever seen? And today, I got the best I've ever seen, Jack Tebow.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I think I already know this answer, but it's roughly about 20 years you've been in the security industry?
21. I never can remember if I started in 98 or 99. I have to look at a plaque. I got.
But then you got to look at about 120 plaques to figure out which plaque is it.
300, yeah.
300, there you go.
Something like that.
I'm downplaying it for you.
Yeah.
So the reason why I wanted to have you here today is I really feel like maybe it's a lost art of door knocking, and I almost didn't do this because I don't want to offend anyone else. We both know a lot of people in the industry.
Yep.
We know a lot of people that do the same thing that you do in theory, but how I justified it in my mind so that I'm not going to offend anybody else is Cal Ripken might not be Babe Ruth, but Cal Ripken was the Ironman of baseball, never missed a day. You know, he's got the longest consecutive game streak. So I think there might be people that hit 400 like Ted Williams or Babe Ruth, but for day in, day out, showing up every single day, going to the salt mines, knocking it out, I don't think anyone's ever done a better job than you. So,
well, appreciate that.
No, you're the one that had to do the hard work. All I had to do is say that.
Yeah.
So tell me, what the crazy thing about this business, like my business, I go to someone and they're expecting to see me, and if I don't sell Hawk security equipment today, I can try next week, next month, but you got one shot at it. So tell me, like, nobody woke up this morning thinking they're going to buy an alarm system. So talk about that when you're knocking on a door. How do you establish quick rapport?
Well, I think really rapport is about the most overrated thing in our business.
Okay.
I really do. What I want them to do is trust me.
Okay.
And so the way that I set things up, I got to of course, everything starts with work ethic. If you don't have that, you're just not gonna make it.
Sure. And let's back up onto that because I know I've heard you say it where some people don't know. They don't know what their outcome is going to be, and you know that if you work X amount of time, you're going to explain that.
Okay, well, it took doing this for as long as we've been doing it. There's 4 levels. There's the elite producers, and there's not very many of them because there wouldn't be elite. There's the top guys, which are a notch below. There's the solid producers, and then there's everybody else.
Okay.
And the difference between those levels is there's 4 big things that all the elite guys do. They do all 4 of them. And one of them is they have a plan for everything. For everything. Okay?
Elaborate on that.
Well, they got a plan for, of course, what they're going to do at the door. They got a plan for how to close the install. They got a plan for when a customer calls them wanting to cancel. They get a message. They got a plan for that. They know, you get to a certain point, I know everything that the customer might say at the door. And I know everything the customer might say in the house. And I got a plan for every one of them. I'm a template guy, we've talked about that.
Sure.
And I say the same thing in response depending on what they ask me or whatever every time. Well, that's having a plan. And I mean right down to, I get to half a tank, I go fill my car up with gas the night before I go to work,
That way it doesn't eat into 8 minutes the next morning.
That's right, yeah, because everything in this business is cumulative. You know that.
Sure.
I do a big long talk on throwing time away. Straight commission sales reps are the worst at throwing time away.
Okay.
They're
too
the
much
worst.
freedom.
Yeah, because they sit there and they don't track their time accurately. Number one, and number 2, they don't realize that throwing time away not only is it cumulative, it becomes a habit. I did a little class in our business. I talk about how you just throw 30 minutes a day away. It costs you $20,000 over the course of a year. So you got to have a plan. You just got to. And then a big thing with me is, the first plan may not. You got to say it out loud because you got to see if it sounds stupid or not.
Okay. What do you mean?
Well, I mean, it's if we can if we can do the, you're in on the inside, and they've let you in. Which, by the way, that's another thing. These guys, the perception, their perspective's all screwed up, because they don't know that it's a deal until they're writing. Well, what the elite guys know is, you trust me. I mean, you're interested because you asked the buying question. You trust me because you let me in your house.
Sure.
If they're both there, that's got to be a deal. It's got to be a deal.
Yeah.
So when I get in there and I say, I'm prepared with the secondary close,
And right on cue, a doorbell's
That's
ringing.
right. Somebody needs an alarm.
There you
What's
go.
the cell one?
Speaking of that real quick.
Yeah.
Remember, you were the only guy in all the history that has ever rang my doorbell to try to sell me an alarm.
Yeah.
I mean, and I've been a homeowner for forever, and you're the only guy that's ever.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's crazy.
You got a $100 bill for that.
I got $200 bills.
Oh, is that what it was?
It
was
you
it
gave me
Mnet?
one, huh?
Was it at Mnet?
No, it was at ProStar, and it was on Memorial Day. And
Yeah.
I was out with, I don't know if you remember, the guy named Jim Dolphinbaum.
Okay.
And then
The great thing about this is to show that Jack is true. I was grilling out hamburgers. I said, Jack, why don't you stop? Like when he rang the doorbell, I'm like, come on in here, and I'll get you a hamburger. And he said, I'll take you up on that after my day's work is done. And sure enough, y'all came back later and we did grill you a burger.
Yeah, and it was golly, that was a brutal, humid, about 108 and 80% humidity day. We're just wringing wet with sweat. But so the saying out loud, as opposed to say, well, for instance, and you got to practice. These guys don't practice. Yeah. They just they have no plan. Somebody calls them to cancel, they don't know what they're going to say.
Sure.
I talked to a guy in the car, and he was trying to close the deal, and he goes, well, let me call her. And I go, well, what are you going to say?
Yeah.
He goes, well, I said, well, then don't call her.
Jack, the analogy of this reminds me of like when you hear Tony Romo announce, people are like, my God, this guy's the greatest announcer in the world.
Yeah.
And the reason being, it's just so fresh, and they can see defensive lineups and audibles. It's almost the reason why the great quarterbacks are great.
That's
it's
right.
not that more bad stuff happens to them. They just know how to react to it better.
Well,
they
have all the answers to the test.
Yeah.
Because they've paid attention.
Yeah.
They didn't just go out there and go, okay, I'll do it when it
I'll wing
happens.
it.
Yeah. So you say, as opposed to, for instance, and this gets into kind of the little stuff, but if I'm closing in the primary close, you get the I want to think about it, or we're in a hurry or whatever like that, and I say, listen, never reinforce the objection. I never say, well, I know you're in a hurry. I mean, how stupid can you be?
I hope you get out the door faster.
Yeah. But what I'll say something to the effect, well, look, I'll do the bad one first. Let me tell you, I'm in a contest right now. Here's what I'm willing to do if we can do the paperwork. Okay, well that sucks. As opposed to, because paperwork, bad word, by itself.
It's, talking to you through all the years is funny because I've got such a set of questions that I want to ask you, but because we've talked so casually.
Yeah.
So the thing I want to circle back was, you said to me that you knew if you work X amount of time, you're going to get a deal. What is that number?
Okay, well, now it's, I'm not fishing for anything, but the fact of the matter is now, I know how to do elite numbers.
Sure.
But I don't do elite numbers on a regular basis. Now, there's some exceptions from time to time. Somebody makes me mad, or something like that.
You have to win a contest, show me who's boss.
Yeah. But that's tracking my time. No elite producer wakes up in the morning wondering if he's going to get a sale. Yeah. Which is the killer for a straight commission guy.
Yeah.
The stress is just brutal. It's brutal. And so,
but you and I are in a different boat. I mean, you start out at zero every month, and kind of I do, but there's so much reoccurring business.
You've been where you've been where we're talking about.
Yeah, and I wasn't good at it.
Yeah,
but that's why I had to get to where I'm at.
Yeah, well, so I started out. We didn't know anything. Don Goodwin and I started out 30 days apart in the business, and we knocked every door.
Sure.
Every single door. Matter of fact, I went to duplexes because I thought I could get 2 doors at once. I didn't know that most of those people
People
are
are renters.
Yeah,
Yeah, you had to learn what you had to learn.
But so what I did, the time I started, I wrote it down. When I broke for lunch, I wrote that down. When I came back to work, I wrote that down. And when I stopped for the day, I wrote that down. And let me tell you, back then, here's what I knew. When I saw how much money you could make in this business, when it became real to me, which was when I got my first bonus check, I decided I'm going to make the most amount of money in the least amount of time for the least amount of trouble. And I'm going to figure out what that is. You know, if it's handing out flyers, I'm going to do it. But what it is, it's knocking doors. And so what you do is you don't get a really good read on that until about 6 weeks. But what you do is you add the amount of time you spend on the street and divide it by the number of sales that you made in that time span. And you got to count failed credit. You can't help it if they pass credit.
Sure.
Okay. Yeah. And that's your number. That's how long you got to be on the street to get one.
So if you know that it's going to take 3 hours and you want to do 30 deals, you know you're going to have to, whatever that is.
I'm going to have to work 90 hours plus I'm going to have to, and this is why guys fall hair short. Plus, though,
because failed credit.
I got to factor 10% failed credit and 10% cancel.
Yep.
So I got to write 36.
Yep.
Well, these guys that do that, and of course, there's not been anybody that's done 30 a month in, month out, you know, but one that I know of, and then to take it to 40, 45 is, you know, we'll get into that in a minute. But, so what I knew was, okay, back then I worked 9 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock at night.
Sure.
And I went days that I got shut out, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's cumulative. I knew after 6 weeks, you know what? If I got shut out today, I'm going to write 2 tomorrow. If I get shut out tomorrow, I'm going to write 3 the next day. You know?
Sure.
But I got it down to, and they don't like me talking about this in the meetings and stuff, but I got it down to, once I figured this business out, I was writing one every 45 minutes I was on the street.
Wow.
Every 45 minutes by the clock.
That's tremendous.
Yeah. And so that's how I woke up in the morning, and man, you know, this job is simple, but it's not easy.
No, without
but that makes it significantly easier when you know, because I tell everybody that number doesn't lie. That
what
number doesn't lie.
The amount of time on the
That's
street.
right.
Okay.
If you compute it, if you don't lie to yourself about it, you know, working isn't driving to the area.
I totally agree.
Working isn't sitting in front talking to your girlfriend or your wife on the phone.
It's
about
time in front of someone that can say yes is qualified.
That's right.
Yeah.
Prospecting, presenting, or setting an appointment. That's it.
Yeah.
It's all that counts. Yeah.
So is there a house or a door you'll walk past now that
now the biggest thing I learned really, well, I would say, but one of the biggest things was, you know, back then, man, we tried to turn everybody around.
Sure.
But realizing that, you know, okay, this guy didn't ask me how much, he ain't interested. I don't care what he says, and I'm not going to be his entertainment for the day. You know,
Sure.
I'm going. It's 17 seconds to the next door. I'm going.
I like that you know how long it is to the next door.
Yeah.
But you know that brings me up. You know, I've had so many conversations through the year. But one of the things is you just I might script line.
Yeah.
How I remember it is you would say, "Hey Jack, it's just the monthly. Hey Jack, it's just the
That's
monthly."
right.
Until the customer would say, "Well, how much is it?"
That's right.
Because then you knew that they were ready.
That's right.
Whereas most other guys, I'd be like, "Hey Jack, it's $44.95 a month."
Oh.
That's a total mistake, right?
That's the worst thing you can possibly do.
Okay, so why do you say it the way you say it?
Well, because I want to. That's the last thing I say in the pitch. You know, the pitch is designed to educate the customer and precipitate the buying question. That's really what it's for.
The buying question they're going to ask you.
That's right.
How much?
If they're interested. If they're not interested, they're not going to ask.
And that's how you'll know.
That's how I know. Yeah. So the way I came up with that, and now it's funny because nobody knows that I did that. But Chris Rivers and I were sitting. It was freezing outside, and we're sitting in my truck, and I said, "Dude," we're still knocking every door back then.
Yeah.
I said, "We got to figure something out." To where because I don't even remember what we said. We just kept talking until we got in.
Yeah.
You know, and then we get in, and we shouldn't have been in. You know, but
Sure.
we were good enough to get in. And I said, we got to figure out how these people are really interested or not. So we sat there for 30 minutes, going, okay, what? You know, and I said, going to say it's just the monthly monitoring. That's it. And if they ask how much, they're interested. And if they don't, we're moving on.
Yep.
You know, and so that's how that happened.
So you'll cut your losses if I don't ask how much it is. You're like, well, thank you for your time today.
That's right. Here's my card.
Yeah. Even though you know there's a 1 in 1,000 chance at this point.
Yeah, that's why I get in arguments with guys that would say, "Why are you walking by that door?" Or "Why'd you
give up?
Why'd you give up?" So I didn't give up. That guy's not interested.
I didn't give up. I chose not to give up any more of my time.
That's exactly right.
Because that's all you got.
That's exactly right.
All right. One of my other favorite Jack-isms is most people would think if a guy's mowing a lawn to leave him alone.
Yeah.
But you taught me that guy is looking for any excuse to stop mowing the lawn.
That's right. You know, plus, and I mean, you get into, it's fun talking to another elite guy because you start saying stuff like this to people that aren't, and it's like speaking Japanese. They don't believe it, number one. And number two, they got no idea. And that doesn't make them bad.
Sure.
It just means, they're a top level producer, whatever, and that's okay. But like I said, when I saw the money, man, I want to make the most amount of money, the least amount of time, least amount of trouble. So when guys mowing his yard, I know from being married that he didn't do that of his own volition. He got told, go mow the stinking yard. Yeah. It's hot. His endorphins are up, which means he feels good because he's sweating. He really does. Yeah. And he is looking for a reason to stop, but it's got to be justified.
Sure.
So he go back in the house and go, hey, honey, this alarm, we've been, we got, I want you to listen to this guy. We need this for you, that kind of thing. 85% was my closing percentage on people working in the yard that were a legitimate prospect.
Wow.
85%. Ross didn't even know that. We pulled up to a house one day and
your brother
my brother. Yeah, my little brother.
Sorry.
Yeah. We pulled up to the house, guy's mowing his yard. He goes, that guy's mowing his yard. I said, dude, 85%. It's a lay down. He walked up to the guy and went in and wrote it, which kind of ticked me off because it was his turn. And
so now we know 85% of legitimate homeowners out doing their yard. We also know that 17 seconds to the door.
Yeah.
We also know if you want to do 30, you better do 36. So you're going to have 10% fail on credit and 10% fail on cancellation.
Yeah, you got to plan for that anyway. Yeah.
You're right, because a lot of people, they just think, all right, I got to get to this point. Yeah. Well, you got to factor the rest of it. So the thing I think about you all the time is people think a comedian is just on stage joking around. Mm-hmm. The reality is he knows what works, he knows what doesn't work, and he's 9 times out of 10 is going to end up with the same outcome. Mm-hmm. But it doesn't look like he's doing much, but he's already tried what works and tried what fails and works it. And I always think, because I'm really bad at telling jokes because I'm just not mechanical enough, but I always view you as like an assembly line of sales. Yep.
That's how I have to do it.
There's no variance, and it's very consistent, like a good performer, a good musician, a good magician, comic. No big deal. I mean, somebody wants to buy something, right?
As long as it's not hard.
That's right. Gotta make mama happy.
That's right.
So how do you keep? Have you always been a structured guy, or do you just realize variance is going to screw you?
I'll tell you the truth, and I don't want to get all spooky and everything, but I'll tell you, when the Lord rescued me from the mess that I was in, and I got almost forced into this business, to be honest with you, and I would never dream I'd been any good at it, but it was perfect for my skill set. It was perfect because admin after the sale stuff, I suck.
It's a tornado behind you.
That's right. But making my check, and which goes all the way through the install.
Sure.
I mean, I am relentless, and like you said, I got a template for everything. Yeah. Everything, That's.
But I don't think most sales. I think most sales guys are charismatic. Do it one way, do it a different way. If I was systematic.
But they're never elite. Never. Yeah. Never. And they don't know. The problem is, you talk about door knocking being a lost art. This Redfin thing.
Yeah.
Well, these guys, if that ever goes away, they're in trouble.
What do you mean?
Well, because they're walking up on warm leads, But if they got to go out, like Don and I were talking, and hunt that thing down and kill it and drag it back to the house, they're going to be in big trouble. Plus, and I'm for any way a guy wants to make his money in this business, I'm for it. But there's a cap, because there's only so much time, because there's so many not homes when you're doing that.
Yeah.
You're only going to be able to make so much money. Now, if that's all you want to make, that's okay. If you want to make whatever you want to make,
Yeah.
then you got to learn how to do cold call, door knocking.
I 100% agree. And my old boss and I, Ben Cornett, would say, you're either an inside cat or an outside cat. Inside cat gets some tuna fish open
That's
up and
exactly
they go.
right.
You stick that guy outside and tell him go find a mouse, kill it. He has no clue.
Yeah, he's going to get hit by a car.
But you've kind of implied on. But if you're an outside cat, you can be an inside cat.
That's
what you were
right.
saying is you scaled it back a little bit on purpose
Yes.
because of
Well, Holly told me to.
okay. Well, you got to do kind of like the guy told, go mow your lawn. So you got to do what you got to do.
That's right.
But you've chosen to come
That's
back
right.
a little bit. But
Right.
but I 100% agree. If you learn to be an outside cat, you can do anything.
Yeah, the guys, and I'm not going to mention the names of the companies, but you know the companies have all the inbound sales leads.
Sure.
The big two, one of them went out of business. But those guys, okay, you're doing an elite number, but good grief, you're a lead baby.
But here's the other thing is to get all that activity inbound, it costs something.
That's
it costs SEO, it costs advertising, costs something. So
Which they take away from your commission.
without a doubt, which means the sales guy's going to make less. So if you want to make the most money out there in the world, if you're an outside cat, outside guy, because you're straight commission. If you
Yeah.
don't sell anything, it doesn't cost the company anything.
That's right.
But if you sell something, you're going to get a lion's share of the deal because they know that you could go work for 100 other
Anybody.
companies
That's
and
right.
sell any other. That's one of my
That's right.
questions. Let me ask you this: do you think you could sell anything door to door?
Yes.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And here's why. I think it's because of the systems you have in place.
Yeah.
The product needs to be quality, but other than that,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it
And you
really
gotta
matters
go
what
to
it
work.
is. Huh?
You got to go to work.
I totally agree. That's a number
Yeah.
one thing.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. Man, I've got everything all over the map
great.
here. There's another door ringing, man.
Yeah. Let me
But-
tell you a couple. If a couple of things I want to make sure get
Sure.
on, because I think it's the big four for me. You know, we talked about that for elite guys, and then it's whoever as it drops down. It means like the top guys don't do a couple of these things.
Okay.
All elite guys do all four of these things, and I mean they do them really good. Then what separates the elite, the most elite, is all the little stuff after that. You know,
Okay.
we'll get in. But so number one, you know, and they're no particular order. I think one's more important than all the rest of them. But after work ethic, of course, you got to track your time. You got to know how to create perception, and that is gigantic. And so in our business, what perception means is I want the customer to think about what I want them to think about the way I want them to think about it, without lying.
Sure.
Okay? So example, we've talked about this a bunch. You know, this is a thing. Customers think like customers. That's a big thing salespeople don't get. The most, they don't think like a sales rep. They don't know that status light costs 90 cents.
Sure.
You know, I mean, it's all perceived. Well, then, you know, when you're in a competitive situation, you know, I'm going to say, well, you know, I never run down the competition. I'm going to say, look, here's the differences. You know, now I'm going to say, you know, we don't raise our rates. Well, the perception up here is for the customer is, well, everybody else does.
Without a doubt.
You know, no doubt
But
about
then
it.
you thought about it.
Yeah. So they know how to create perception. That's gigantic, and I mean it's gigantic.
Sure.
They track their time. They know how to create perception.
Work ethic.
They got a plan for everything. Work ethic's a given.
Sure.
But the big one to me is, and you know exactly, the elite guys are willing to get uncomfortable.
Okay.
I mean, they are willing to get uncomfortable. You know.
Give
Well,
me an
the
example.
big one, for instance, is you're sitting there, you're in. I mean, they're willing to get uncomfortable at the door. They're willing to get uncomfortable in the house. They're willing to get so the big one for me would be the most extreme example to me is you sit there, you've made your pitch. They said maybe. You came back with your secondary close, and I really believe that 3 times, these guys that say close 7 times lost their mind. They suck. You know what I mean? I mean, they just do. There's no doubt about it. Most closes are made on the first or second deal.
Yeah.
Very rarely will I do a third. I got one, but And because I learned on my own, I didn't need training,
Sure.
you figure this stuff out. So, big one to me is you made your primary close, they said no. You made your secondary close, they said no. And they are literally standing up, and or wherever, or we're standing up, whatever, and they're basically almost putting their arm around you and walking into the door.
Sure.
Well, everybody else quits right there. That's it.
Yeah.
Not the elite guys. Those wheels.
So what are you
turning.
saying?
I
I'm walking
say,
to the front door.
All right, so you
Not
got a system
interested.
in the house, right? I go, or if you don't, I got one for that too. But I say, wait a minute. Because what do you got to do? What do you got to do when he's walking your door? You got to get back.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. And you got to generate some, whatever you want to call it, hope, whatever. You got to create a perception. Oh, I'm the customer. Hold on. I'm fixing to get a good deal here. If this happens. So I say, wait a minute. I just remembered you got a DSC 1616 in here, don't you? Well, I don't know. I said, well, let me take a look at that real quick.
Because we're running a special.
Come on. Yeah. Because holy crap.
Like somehow you overlooked that.
Yeah. And it goes back to my deal, $50, zero.
Yeah.
That's not a hard decision for me.
Sure.
Now can you make a living making $50 a deal? No. But I'm there.
Yeah.
Man. I got to walk out with some money.
Sure.
So that's what I'm talking about, getting uncomfortable. That's really uncomfortable. The wife comes to the door holding a baby. She's pregnant with another baby. Her hair's not done. You can tell she didn't want nobody coming to the door that day. And she says, "Look, I got everything going on," and everybody else walks away. So get uncomfortable.
So there's something else that you do that man, I just don't know that many other sales guys doing it. And most guys are blended. They're door knocking, but they're working referrals. They got some agents and stuff. But I don't know if I've ever met anyone else. You would prefer to knock than to take a referral that's a 2-hour drive. Does it get back to time?
Yes. Yeah. And don't get me wrong. Here's the factors in that. I don't know if that guy's going to fast credit.
Sure.
And if I get out there and he does fail credit, then he's going to talk to the guy that referred him to me, and I'm not getting any more referrals from that guy.
Sure.
Because he's going to paint me as a bad guy.
Yeah, it can't be his financial situation.
Yeah.
That you did something wrong.
Yeah. And I mean, when I was in full-on beast mode, whatever you want to call it,
Sure.
I mean, that's 4 deals.
Sure.
Round trip. Plus the time I spent there. That's 5 deals.
See, I imagine in my mind when you told me this, that you're just driving down the road thinking, well, there's 100 houses I just passed. There's another 100 houses I just passed.
Yeah.
I mean, but
That's
it boils
exactly
down,
right.
it boils down to time.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
The most precious commodity that a straight commission guy has.
And I think what it is because you know exactly what your numbers are, whereas someone else doesn't know what their numbers are, and like, oh man, I got to lay down. I got Joe Blow's referral over there. I'm going to go do that. And then they kid themselves with all that time over there listening to sports radio, like that's going to help their career versus calling people, following up.
Yeah.
Just not dealing.
And I'm all for referral agents. I'm all for Redfin. I'm all for ambassador leads. I'm all. You guys want to do that? That is awesome. But there's 3 things that for me, I don't want anybody else in control of my paycheck.
Okay.
Nobody. Now. Number 2, I don't want to cap on what I make. And let me just tell you, it's a fact that guys that do that, and I got nothing against it.
Sure.
But they can't make the kind of money, the guys that do what I do, when they can't. There's not enough time.
Sure.
You got to, I've tried everything. You got to babysit that referral agent.
Sure.
You got to replace him because somebody's going to get pregnant, somebody's going to get married, somebody's going to get fired.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, poof, they're gone. But I control my check, man. I mean, I don't need a lead support. I like it, but I don't need it. I don't need referral agents. I've got people that refer them to me, but it's on them. I'm not, and like I said, I'm all for it. But those guys when it comes down to the nut cutting, when it's sleeting outside,
sure,
you know, and it's the wintertime, whatever.
Recession or whatever.
Yeah, I'm not affected by the construction industry.
Yeah.
I'm not affected. In 2008, when the bottom fell out, my number didn't drop one bit. Everybody else's did.
Sure.
You know.
I hear you.
Yeah.
So a couple consistencies about you. I've never seen you with less than 2 pens on you. And I know you always have contracts in your back pocket. Talk about some of this 101 basic, like
you gotta eliminate
mountain climbing gear.
Yeah, you got to eliminate variables.
Sure.
You know, that's part of it. And the elite guys eliminate more than everybody else does. Now, there's some you can't control. Like, you can't control if the guy's going to pass credit. You can control where you're working, where it's going to be good credit, but you can't control that. But what I can control is stuff that might cost me a deal.
Sure. Do you use the same brand of pen? Have you used the same brand for 20 years? Or is it a different brand?
No, I did, and then I found these.
Okay, how long have you had that brand of pen?
About 3 years.
What do you like about that pen?
It doesn't smear. I only need one hand to work it. I hate those turn things.
But like you literally thought this through.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay. How many contracts do you keep in your back pocket?
2, always.
Why 2?
In case I mess up on one of them.
Okay, but then you have more in
then I go and I immediately replace it when I get
But
back
you
in the
always
car.
have 2.
Always.
Always 2 pens, always 2 contracts.
Yeah.
Is there something else that you always have that people don't know?
Yeah, well, I always, I'm dressed like this.
You asked me today, what should you wear?
Yeah.
I'm like, come exactly the way you normally are.
I always have I've got everything that's business related goes in one bag.
Okay.
And it may not be organized perfectly, I get behind sometimes.
Sure.
But I got everything I need is in one bag, so that, and I might just throw it in there if I'm in a hurry. So when I stick that bag in the car, even if I'm not ready, like I am now, then I know where it all is every time. I'm a big deal on. Logo, and I'm a big deal on grooming.
Thank you for that, by the way.
Yeah.
I appreciate
the giant on that. And
they want a clean cut guy. You don't want to be some scary dude at the porch.
Yeah, and I mean, you know what? A work ethic can overcome that. But the problem is, I'm going to get the ones you don't want because you're not paying attention, or the elite guys, not just me, but the elite guys, because you're not paying attention. And somebody's going to look through the window, and they're not going to answer the door.
So then you lose 7%, and you don't know why, but you can't get that 7% of the time.
Can't get it back.
Let me ask you this: like in the car business, they always say that once a person's off the lot, that you got like a 1 in 100 chance of ever getting that deal. What do you think when you hand someone a business card when they're not interested? What do you think the odds of that? Zero. You're just giving them a card to make them feel good about the transaction.
Here's the way it works: you get, for every 1,000 cards you hand out, you get 3 calls.
Are you kidding me?
3 calls.
Wow.
And it's weird. They tend to come in spurts. It's just the weirdest thing. Same thing with checkbacks. Checkbacks are a little different.
But someone says, "Hey, I'm not ready. Call me back in a week."
Yeah.
That type of deal.
The 10%, the elite guys, because our checkbacks are different. I'm nailing that guy down as much as I can nail him down. If he ain't gonna,
like, is it morning or afternoon?
Right, what time?
And your wife will be with you, so you both can make a decision. We're going to talk about that in a second too.
16%.
16%.
Yeah.
On checkbacks.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So 3 out of 1,000 business cards, 16% on checkback.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: this is one of the biggest things in direct sales, which is door-to-door sales. Direct sales is people talk about a one-legged close.
Yeah.
When only the husband or like you mentioned, Holly and my wife Crystal. I don't think you and I are doing too much without checking with them. So talk about the importance of having the decision maker in the home and how it can do it.
Okay, so and these are get into little things, but obviously you get in if the husband is the one that you got to find the wife. I mean, if she's there, you got to find her. Or there's no way but let's real quick. You hear these guys, and the worst thing that can happen to a new guy is for the exception to work the first time he tries it.
Yeah.
And the exception proves the rule. The exception's not the rule.
Sure.
Right. So.
Good point.
Yeah.
The exception proves the word. It's not the word.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you get in, you find the wife. I don't care what she says. Whatever he says is okay with me. anything he wants. This is his deal. That's a lie. You know, I'm not calling her a liar.
No, it's the old saying, buyers are liars.
That-
They don't mean to be, but they are.
Yeah, and so I got to engage her. I got to make her feel like and here's another little thing. You can't assume that that's the wife. So these people that come up and say, Mrs. Shiner, well, what if that's his mother?
Yeah.
Or what if that's his daughter?
Or his long-term girlfriend that he didn't marry, now she hates you.
Yeah, because, you know, or the other way around, where the wife answers the door and you got to address the husband, and it's her father.
Yeah.
And she's going, what do you think? I'm 70 years old, you know, that little tiny stuff.
Jack, I once asked a girl whether she was pregnant.
Oh,
turned out she wasn't. So now you could be having a baby, and I'm not going to say anything.
No,
because you learn.
Yeah, that's right. There's things you just say. You know, so you go up and you say.
So how do you say it?
Well, I find it really is hard to. Usually easy to find the wife and know she's a wife. But when I go immediately. I'm pitching the guy. Right, and I'm looking around. You know, I don't ask, is your wife here? And sure. I very seldom, but I never ask if the husband's here. Because if he's not, you know, then there's a bunch of creeps out there. You know,
sure. Well, the other thing is, what you think I can't make my own decision.
Exactly.
It's like car salesmen ignoring a woman, even though they're like whatever high percentage of buyers. They're just reading off an old script.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So what I do, I'll go in and I say, I'm pitching the guy, and I'm looking around and I see what she's doing, whatever. You know, she doesn't come in to engage herself. And I'll walk over there and I'll say, ma'am, I'm Jack, I'm with Talk Security. I just didn't want you to think I was ignoring you. Here's what we're talking about. And then I did the door pitch right there.
You just disarmed her.
Yeah. And then if she says, well, you know, I'm not the wife, however she wants to say that.
Sure.
Oh, well, okay. Well, is Mrs. Shiner home? Because, you know, she's going to have questions.
Yeah.
You know, and then, but here's the key on the one-legged thing. If they're not there, I'm in the house. I ain't getting back in.
Yeah.
I got to try to sell it. And so if it's the wife and she wants it, I can't make her call her husband, but I'm gonna do everything I can to. And that's just where the perception thing comes back, right? So I get her, and by the way.
So tell me, you got the wife ready to buy, and
Yeah.
you're gonna encourage her to call her husband.
Yes.
And I'm guessing the reason why is so you don't get a chargeback blowout. You don't want the deal to blow out.
Yeah.
His husband felt like he wasn't part of it, and like, what
I
did
want
you
him
do?
to pull up in the yard and see a sign there and go, and haven't been having a bad day and go nuts.
Yeah.
You know, he's
I
not
think
mad.
most guys wouldn't do that. I think they would
Yeah.
just try to get the deal and hope for the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you want to get buy-in.
No, yeah. Now, if she says, I can't. If she says, "Look,
I run the show."
I'm not gonna.
You're
I'm
not
gonna
gonna
ride
push
it. Yeah, because if they cancel, they cancel. You know?
Well, you not agree? Most guys are like, if the lady's on board and didn't give any pushback, they'll just ride it up. But you're just going, hey, you want to make sure. I don't think most guys would do that.
Well, what I want, what precipitates that is she says, you know, I need to talk to my husband. Okay. Well, let me ask you this. I'm in a little contest right now. I tell you what, would you give him a call? I'll make it worth your while. So there's the perception thing, right? So
contest is sense of urgency.
Yeah.
Which is
and
huge.
I don't lie. I'm always in a contest.
And without every single day, you're in a contest that make sure your family eats.
Yeah, well,
that's a contest
the
we're
President's
running.
Club Circle of Excellence goes all year.
And then I'll make it worth your while. It's such an open-ended because what someone thinks is worth their while and the other, it's such a nice positive statement.
It took, you know, a lot of work to come up with that. People think, well, that didn't just pop in my head one day. I sat at home and figured it out how to do that. And so it goes back to perception. So if I tell the customer, I'm going to make it worth your while, here's what they think. I'm getting anything I want.
Yeah,
that's what they think they do.
Getting more than I got before,
Yeah.
so I'm going to do what he does.
Yeah, well, they really do think I'm going to get anything I want. Now,
Sure.
Do they know what they want?
No.
Who knows?
They opened up
Who
the
knows
door
what
to-
they want?
Yeah.
I know what they want.
Yeah.
You know, because I'm going to tell them
Sure.
what they want. So That's how
And you're
I
not
do
saying
it.
that arrogantly.
No.
It's just it's being a salesperson
Yeah.
because they didn't wake up this morning thinking they're buying an alarm
No,
system.
I mean, no way. I mean, that's what the other thing that is a big deal. Before I forget it, wife calling the husband at work, and she wants it. You're going to get it 80% of the time.
Okay.
Husband calling the wife at work, you're going to get it 20% of the time.
Wow.
Because they're going to kill it because they know we're stupid. You know what I mean?
I hear it.
We're going to buy it.
Make a bad
Sounds
decision.
awesome. You know what? Yeah, you know. I mean, they just are. You know, they're going to kill it because they can.
Yeah.
Almost.
Wife
80%
calling
of the
husband
time.
80, husband calling wife 20.
Yeah, but you got to do it.
Yeah.
Because you're there and you ain't getting back in.
Sure.
You know. So the other thing that when you're in there, that these guys that don't understand is, or I say these guys and ladies too, of course, but I walk in a door. Don Goodwin walks in the door. Curtis Jordan, Chris Rivers, you walk in the door,
Not me.
and I know. Well, not now, but you used to. And I know I'm the one with the plan. These guys get nervous, and that's why they leave, because they get uncomfortable, because they forget their perspective's all messed up.
Sure.
When I knock on the door, just like you said, you didn't wake up in the morning and say, man, I hope a guy named Jack knocks on my door to sell me an alarm.
Yeah.
You got no plan. I got a plan.
If you don't have a plan, you're probably not going to be very good at
Not
the
very
business.
good. No. So when I knock on the door, I mean, I know this sounds crazy, but I'm the one with the advantage.
Totally.
I know what I'm going to do, and I know what you're going to say. I know everything that you might say. I know it all, and I know what I'm going to say.
And here's the
when you
deal.
say it.
You're not saying that arrogant or boastfully
No.
at all. If you think about it, the person opening up the door has maybe been solicited by a lot of weak salespeopeople.
I hope so. Yeah.
But when a pro shows up, it's a whole different deal. It's
Different
like,
deal.
It's like
different
Brady
deal.
dicing up a defense.
Different deal. You know, like I said, I train a bunch of guys and go to the door and I go, I said, look, here's where you messed up. And I said, you said this. I told you to say this. Well, it's the same thing. Mm-hmm. No, it's not the same thing.
What I always say is waitress, get me a Coke versus waitress, ma'am, when you have an opportunity, may I have a Coke? It sounds like the same thing. It's entirely different.
Entirely different.
So you spend a lot of your time reworking with someone.
Not much anymore. For me. But yeah, other guys. But, you know,
in the beginning, you spend all your time making sure that if I said it this way, it's going to come across way better than if I said it that way.
That's exactly right.
Okay. Let me ask you this, and I know you told me this before, and I wrote it down somehow in here, but do you get frustrated when you try to train someone and instantly 7 days, 10 days, a month later, they think they're going to take this pitch and throw some special sauce on it and make it special and different? Does it just drive you bonkers?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, it's, and then they always come back and they go, this isn't working. I go, really?
It's like Nolan Ryan teach you how to throw a fastball.
Yeah.
You're like, I got it figured out.
Yeah.
No one let me throw.
Yeah,
It's knocked out of the park.
Yeah, you know, I mean, I don't want to get, but you know the numbers. I mean,
Sure.
I've sold a bunch of alarms.
Absolutely.
And what's even more frustrating, now when I train guys, I used to be, I'm not overtly gracious when I'm working, because the focus that's another thing that's below the top four, but you got to have it. The focus that's necessary to do what guys like me do is people can't understand it.
Sure.
Because that's why I say, if you got a service problem, stop, pull off the side road, fix it till it's all the way fixed, and then go back to work.
Tell me what you mean by service problem. What do
Somebody customer calls you up, or you get a phone call from the office. Hey, Mr. Shiner has a problem with his alarm system. He wants you to give him a call. Or I get a text from you, because I give all my customers my personal cell. All of them.
All right, we'll get back to why you do that, but keep that thought.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, I've done it long enough. I never, and I mean never, call somebody back And back in the day, before I'd sit and I'd go, okay, here's what they told me. Here's the information I've got right now from what either the voicemail they left or what service told me. Here's the problem. Here's how I'm going to handle it. And I'll say it out loud, 4 or 5 different, I don't have to do that anymore, but
Sure.
that's what I did. So I forgot what the
You're limited.
topic
You
was.
said you're going to pull off this. You get a service deal. You're not going to.
No, yeah. Because
You're
I
gonna
can't
pull
have
off-
that gnawing at the back of my brain the rest of the day.
Yeah, you got to eliminate that.
Yeah, it inhibits.
because it's going to fester.
Yeah, and it's going to inhibit my focus, which is just critical in our
Yeah,
business.
you start off by saying, "Hey, no one realizes how much laser focus I have to do my job."
Yeah.
They don't understand that, and so then you were saying that if you've got a service issue,
Yeah.
you're going to pull off.
I'm gonna pull
You're
off the
think of the
cellular
4 or
road.
5 scenarios
Yeah.
that could play out because you've seen it a million times before, and you're gonna get back to them right away, so it's not gnawing at
That's
you.
right.
Going,
That's
what's
exactly
wrong?
right.
Okay.
And I'm going to fix it to where it's on them.
Okay.
Because here's the last thing I always say. I just give them the service number,
Yep.
the local service. I tell them, you be sure to call that number before 5 o'clock because I don't want you getting corporate because they suck,
Yeah.
at dealing with this kind of stuff. And then I say, if you don't get it resolved, you call me back.
Exactly. That way they know they got a safety net.
Well,
out there.
and I'm done.
Yeah.
You don't call me back. I told you to call me back.
Yeah. Exactly.
I told you to call me back. You didn't call me back. It's,
Okay.
So,
So you also mentioned that you always give your personal number.
yeah, Mike Shirley hated that.
Did he?
Yeah.
The thing I
He
like
wanted me
about,
selling instead of taking care of. So,
I hear you, but the thing I like about it is I bet there's a certain percentage of non-cancellations that you get because someone feels really comfortable going, you know what, the guy gave me his cell phone. He seemed like an honest, believable guy. I'm good.
I
with that.
have there's for the standard number is 10% cancel, 10% fill credit.
Yeah.
My cancellation rate now, and back especially when I was, I've gotten a little sloppy now because I'm just not in it as much anymore.
How young are you right now?
63.
All right, 63 years old. You look like you can play middle linebacker.
Well,
so we'll give you a little bit of credit
Yeah.
for slowing down the last few years.
So I forgot. See, that's what
Talking
happens.
about putting your phone number.
Oh,
giving
so
your
yeah,
phones.
because I don't want. That's just eliminating another variable. And I tell them, I say, I don't care how small it is. You call me. I don't want you talking to anybody before you talk to me, and that's exactly right. My cancellation. I just don't have it.
Well, think about this. I mean, not to pick on anybody, but let's say you got some new, slightly above minimum wage person taking a customer service call. That's
All they want to do is get off the phone.
It's only had maybe 20 at bats.
Yeah.
And they're going to get an objection they never heard, mess the table on it. Versus you've heard all of them. You can get it turned around. You can say, hey, if they don't take care of you, call me back. And
I tell
you're
them,
good to go. So
ahead.
you're eliminating the potential that someone accidentally might blow your deal.
Yeah,
You're
and costly
controlling your own
referrals.
fate.
Because I've been doing this now long enough, I don't have to go get referrals.
Yeah.
My phone rings a significant percentage of the month now on referrals.
Sure.
From our customers wanting to upgrade their system and everything, and it's pretty cool when you, and I put their numbers in my phone. I used to not do that with their name, and it's pretty, and it has customer at the bottom, and I think it's pretty cool. Like I got one on the way in today, a service call when I was coming over here. Hey, Mr. Presley, how's it going? How can I help you?
Yeah.
Jack, I got this. I tell you what, you call this number, and you tell them this problem, and you tell them Jack Tebow told you to call. Don't say Jack because there's more than one Jack there. And not to be,
No, I understand.
but the sense of urgency rises a little bit with the last name.
Inside support starts taking care of the top producers.
Yeah.
Top producers pay their check.
Yeah, and if you don't get it resolved, you call me back.
Yeah, that makes people feel good.
Yeah. Getting an uncomfortable thing, it's like lifting weights. If you work the uncomfortable muscle, it gets stronger, and then the next time that you're not uncomfortable, you go. But then there'll come a time when you're uncomfortable at a different level. But if you work the give up muscle, pretty soon all you're going to be doing is driving down looking for somebody on the curb waving a check at you. And that just ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
You got to work the muscle. You just got to work that muscle. This is a big one to me, especially for new guys. Man, don't try to sell everything. Find what you're comfortable selling and sell a bunch of it.
You're talking about if you got a cheesecake menu versus products, and you just like go, let's play the 80-20 rule. Let's combine it down to what you know works and it's repeatable.
A customer puts something up on a tee, I can hit it. You know what I mean?
Like, hey, I want 10 glass breaks in the house. I'll sell them to you.
Yeah.
But I might not lead with glass breaks.
Yeah. No, I'm not going to lead with them.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what you're going to buy.
Yeah.
You know. Now you want to tell me you want to buy something? Yeah. And I got a plan for that. But I'm going in, and Mike Shirley tell you, he loved my business because it was simple. It was virtually the same thing every time.
Sure.
Now a lot of guys go, well, you do this, you do. You know, you're right, but for time on the street, you don't make the money I make. There's a reason I do that. And one of the, it gives you options. When you started out, you had to go all day to get one.
Sure.
And now I'm going to get one average every 45 minutes. Well, that gives me options. I can work twice as much, or I can go do things and reward myself, from time to time. Whereas before, 9 in the morning till 9 at night. So I tell them all, you find what you're comfortable selling and sell a bunch of it.
I totally agree. I get people on these one-off things. Like, God forbid you sell something unique and one-off. Well, now install it and know how to put it in. They know how to service it.
You might not have it in stock.
You might not have to get away. Now you're delayed because we're 3 days from getting it and it blows out your job. So I agree. There's a lot to be said about just right down the middle of the plate stuff versus fringy stuff.
These guys, a couple of other ones I wanted to make sure I didn't forget, if we have time. One of them, you don't stop the train. Never stop the train.
Momentum.
Yeah. So one of the ways people stop the train is being forced to objection. It just drives me nuts. I know you're in a hurry. I know you got that baseball game tonight. Are you crazy?
Your job's very hard enough. Why put an obstacle in front of you?
Remind them. Oh yeah, I got to get out of here.
I call that "don't say no" for the customer.
Yeah.
You just help them. Kick you out of here.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there. The best when I learned that was about 15 years ago, and I'm in on a deal. I've already made my number for the month. I don't care. I'm just out to stay sharp.
Yeah.
So I go in this guy's house, and this is absolutely 100% true. He asked how much. We got in, and we're talking. And by the way, I know this is going to fly right in the face of conventional residential sales. I close at least 90% of my stuff standing up. We don't sit down until we do the paperwork. You tell some guys that, and they berserk. They can't believe it.
You're saying when you tell other sales guys that?
Yeah.
So what you're saying is you try to avoid sitting down.
I don't consciously do it. It's just the way I've been doing it. You know what I mean?
I think that's good because it seems like if you're sitting down, you're going to get comfortable.
Well, they're comfortable, and I don't want them comfortable.
Oh, that's a good point. I didn't think about that.
Now all of a sudden, the dynamic changes a little bit, and not to cast aspersions on anybody, but those are the little things that guys don't know. I'm not asking permission for anything. Now, I always ask permission to do everything, but I do that for a reason. Like, can I open this keypad? Can I look at your back door? Number one, the person who's asking the question is the one that's in control.
Absolutely. There's
no two ways about it. Plus, it makes them feel like I'm asking permission. No, I'm setting it up.
Sure.
I'm setting it up. You feel like you're in control, but you're not because I'm the one asking the question.
You're getting a lot of yeses from them.
Yeah. So the classic, first time this happened, and it was I was pretty good at that point. You know what I mean? At that point, I'd figured it out. Guy says, we get in and he goes, I pitched the deal and I could tell he wanted it. You know what I mean? He's one-legged.
Yeah.
And I said, he goes, but I'm not doing anything today. I said, okay, great. I said, listen, I just need to get a little information from you. He goes, well, okay, what do you need? I said, just name, phone numbers, emergency contacts. He says, all right, but I'm not doing anything today. Mm-hmm. I said, okay. So I wrote the name and their address, and, And I said, who do you want us to call first if the alarm goes off? Well, I guess that'd be me. But he said, no, I'm not doing anything today. I said,
Well,
that's
3 times
no,
now.
no problem. Yeah, yeah. So we're going in, I get the emergency contacts. The rest of them, I go, what do you want to use for a password? That's blah, 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 blah. But you say if you accidentally set off the alarm so we know it's you.
Sure.
Well, I guess blah. And I said, okay, great. He goes, I'm not doing anything today. I said, yeah, no problem. So I'm getting in, and I always save the social for last, of course. And then I say, and what's your birthday? Well, so, okay, all right. And, okay, what's your social security number? What do you need that for? Oh, we're going to put you on a list or anything. The thing about those kind of things, the objection, is people don't realize what the real objection is. The real objection is not him giving me a social. He gives his social out all the time.
Sure.
He did it when he bought a phone. He did it when he bought a house. He did it when he bought a car.
Sure.
For crying out loud. He did it when he got his credit fixed to somebody over the phone that he wasn't even looking at.
Sure.
The objection, what they're worried about is it gonna get compromised?
Yeah.
That's number one. So what you deal with, we just use that to establish that you're the homeowner, and they do a look credit check. And I'd say just like that, just trailing off a little.
Yeah.
No big deal. They go, okay, but I'm not doing anything today.
That's the 5th or 6th time now. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there and I'm going, in my brain, I'm going, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, you gotta be kidding me. So then I say, okay, how do you want to pay for this? Auto draft, credit card, debit card? He goes, well, I guess I'll use a debit card. I said, do you have that card handy? Yeah. I said, okay, can I take a look at it? I just need to get the expiration. He goes, yeah, but now I'm not doing anything today. I said, okay, no, it's no problem. And I said, then I said, okay, what is a convenient day and time of day for us to do this for you? And he goes, well, I guess whatever day he told me. I said, okay. I said, great. He said, but now I'm not doing this today. I said, yeah, no problem. I said, I just need you to sign in about 4 places. That's it. And then we'll come out here on Wednesday, like you said, between 2 and 4. And he did all that, and I put that in my pocket, and I walked out the door, and I went, never again will I stop the train.
Yeah.
Never. I'll make him.
Just
He
keep
can stop
filling out paperwork.
Yeah. He can stop it anytime he wants to. But I will never.
We're not installing this today.
Yeah.
But you're signing the paperwork today.
Yeah. And just the paperwork.
Just
the
the paper.
difference
That's one of
between
your other
words.
Yeah.
It's paperwork's big.
Like you're talking about trailing.
Yeah.
When we're on your credit trailer.
Yeah.
Just the paperwork.
Yeah. And
Soft,
those
soft.
are the things that the elite guys that separates who's the most elite is all that stuff. Varying your cadence at the door, the syntax on the which word or syllable. That's a big deal. The other thing, they don't. Now this is not elite producers because they don't have any weaknesses. That's why they're elite.
Yeah.
But everybody else does have. For instance, the guys that are right under elite, they don't do at least one of those big 4 things. They're afraid to get uncomfortable. They don't track their time. They don't understand perception. And I can't remember what the other one is.
Plan for everything.
They don't have a plan for everything. Yeah. At least one of them. Most of the time, it's 2 of them they don't do.
Sure.
But they don't understand their weaknesses. One of the best closers I know in the business, and if I said his name, you'd know what I'm talking about.
Sure.
But he is, in elite guys, they don't need motivational tapes.
Sure.
They're self-motivated. This guy won't go to work.
Yeah.
Unless he's committed. Unless he's promised somebody he'll pick him up or somebody comes pick him up.
Sure.
Now he'll be ready to go, but he won't get out of the stinking bed and go to work on his own.
Well,
and he's a killer in the house. So you got to understand what your weaknesses are. And if you want to do, then you fix that. Where you call somebody, hey, let's go to work, commit.
Sure.
Going to work.
Yeah, know that it's like interpersonal training. You know your challenge is accountability.
Yeah. The focus thing we talk about, the eliminating the variables. I got some sayings that I always like to tell guys, and it's a fact. So that you don't get discouraged. You always get paid for what you do in this business.
Yeah.
The board doesn't lie.
Yeah.
And the law, it's Emerson's law of reciprocity, which he stole from Proverbs. All hard work brings a profit. You're gonna get paid if you're working.
Yeah.
You know, now the longer it takes you to get paid, the more interest accumulates. But you're going to get paid if you're working, and if you're working, you're making money.
And if you're working, you're going to get better.
That's right. You're going to get better. That's the big thing. That's the thing, to be honest, that the guys from now, because Don and I, who's the only guy that I can think of like that, and Chris Rivers, because we knocked every door, we were stupid. Mm-hmm. We did, but man, it made us so good. Sure. Because we would turn people around that we had no business turning around. Every once in a while you get one. Yeah. You know, but now we know that it's the time, the return on the investment isn't big enough. They talk to the wrong people when they're asking questions. You know, if I want to be an elite guy, why? And elite starts at 30 in the unit time.
Sure.
Unit back in and at 1500. Yeah. Now, doing an elite number doesn't make you elite. Sure. Being elite means I do it month in, month out, year in, year out. Then you're elite.
Weather, economy, matters.
Nothing. Whether you get lead support, whether you don't get lead support. And by the way, a big mistake guys make because they don't. Not only does everything become cumulative, but cumulative becomes habitual. Yeah, you know.
Good point.
So a guy hits a chain. Well, he counts that as his number. Well, you know, when I'd hit chains, that counted as one sell for me.
Yeah, because
it's
a one-off deal.
Yeah.
But I think what you're alluding to is you got a guy that's doing all right, and now he's going to go talk to a guy that's doing 3 a month. And in my world, in the book I wrote, I call "Watch Out for the Vice and Advice."
Yeah.
Everybody's got an opinion.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean it's a good one.
Well, and even you know what I mean. I mean, well, for instance, when Curtis Jordan came to work, Don Goodwin told him, "You are allowed to talk to nobody in that office but me or that guy right over there." And he didn't know it was me.
Sure.
That's the only 2 people you're allowed to talk to. Yeah. So then he comes to me and he goes, "Look, I told him I'm going to teach him how to sell, you know, which but because he's the one that recruited." But he goes, "Sure. Then I'm going to put him with you, and you're going to teach him how to grind it out when things aren't going good."
Sure.
You know, and so I walk in there one day, and he's talking to.
Some of the remain nameless.
Yeah. And I'm going. I went over to Don and I go, "Hey man," because I could tell Curtis was going to be elite like that.
Yeah.
Like that. And I'll tell you a funny story if we got time about
sure.
it. But he got it quicker than anybody I've ever seen. I've never seen anybody get on the elite track as quick as he did. If he'd have stayed in sales, he'd have been better than me and Don by the end of the day. He really would have. Because he was computer technology literate.
Sure.
Well,
yeah.
Holly does all that.
Sure.
So I went over to Don. I go, "Hey, your boys over there talking to so and so and so and so." He goes, "What?" Well, right in front of the guy, Don walks over there, goes up to Curtis, and he goes, "What are you doing?" I goes, "I'm just asking him." He goes, "I told you you're not allowed to talk to anybody in this place but me or Jack. That's it. Yeah. Now get the blank away from here."
Sure.
You know. So Curtis, the uncomfortable thing, and this is, he gets a kick out of me telling him. So Don says, so first Curtis comes up and he says, "I'm ready to do 30. I said, "Well, okay. Have you?"
Curtis said to Don?
Curtis Jordan said to me.
To you. Okay.
"I'm ready to do 30. I said, "Okay." I said, "No, you're not." And I said, he goes, "Yeah, no, I am." I said, No. "What have you done 3 months in a row? What's your best 3-month stretch?" "Well, I did 20, I did 17, I did 20, which are decent."
Absolutely.
You know, I said, "Okay, so you're a 17 guy. Because that's what you've done 3 months in a row. It's 17. You didn't do 23 months in a row. You did 17 3 months in a row."
Oh, I see.
So that's what you are.
Yeah.
Okay. And it's
because you hit 20 twice and 17 once. That means you hit 17 all 3 times.
All 3 times.
Good point. I like that.
Yeah, and when and I don't know what the dynamic is, Tim, but when you do, and we're talking about self-generated, you just can't count lead support or anything like that in your number because all that stuff has the propensity to go away.
It's one
from time to time.
I love that thought though. I mean, chains. Who knows when you get the next one? But you can't count that as your baseline of what you really do.
Yeah, you've got to be able to know.
You have a hot month of referrals.
That's
that
right.
could skew the number.
Yeah, you got to be able to know what you can do if everything else doesn't come in.
Yep.
You got to know that number. So I told Curtis, I said, "You're not, she's crazy, man." I said, "You do." And so Don came over. I said, "Your boy said he's ready to do 30." And Don just looked at him and said, "Look, you go do 20 SGs a month for 3 months in a row.
SG self-generated.
Yeah, and then come back." So Curtis comes back. So I said, "Okay, here we go." I said, "Here's the rules." Because at that point, I'd trained so many guys, and they do, there's 3 things, and I tell them, I go, "Look, if you're going to go out with me, I say be at my house at 9:30. That doesn't mean 9:31.
Sure.
If you're not there at 9:30, when you show up at 9:31, there ain't gonna be nobody there.
Yeah.
All right. So that's the first thing. Number 2, when we get in the car together, don't say I think, because I don't care what you think, because you don't know. You don't know nothing really. I said, and don't argue with me. Don't let me catch you looking at your watch, or I'll drop you off. Because that means you're doing that on purpose so I can see it. And you want to go home, I'll let you go home, but somebody's going to come pick you up because I'm working. All right?
Good.
And number 4, when you get in and you don't get it and you get out, and I tell you what to do, what you did wrong, don't tell me that I wasn't in there.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't in that house, but I've been in 20,000 of them,
So I know what the scenario is.
So Curtis and I are out working, and it starts pouring down rain.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't see your hand in front of your face, right?
Yeah.
So we pull up to the house, and I go, "All right, man, you're up." He goes, "Well, it's raining." I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, I'm not comfortable knocking in the rain." I said, "Well, we're fixing to fix that."
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, how do you do it?" I said, "Well, it's real simple. You run up to the door, and if you get in, you sell it. If you don't, you run back to the car."
Yeah.
So he runs in and runs back to the car. So we pull up to the next house, and he goes, "Okay, show me how it's done." I said, "No, I'm comfortable knocking in the rain.
Yeah.
You're the one
who's
fix
not.
it." Yeah,
It's like the football coach going, "Hey, we're going to practice real hard in the rain because eventually we're going to play a game in the rain.
Yeah.
And we're going to be prepared for that."
Yeah. So it's all about that. But he got it. It all boils down to the after work ethic. There's a track that an elite guy gets on that it doesn't make the other guys bad, but they're just not on it.
Sure.
And they don't care. I've never understood it's incredibly hard to get a guy to make more money than he needs to make. It's incredibly hard.
I never understood that.
I neither. I mean, are you kidding?
But it's funny because Mike's told me that. He's like if a certain guy needs 10 and he hits it in three days or 23 days, he's done.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, it must be nice to be a well-rounded human being because I just want to make more.
Yeah, well, or they hit a big number one month and they give it all back the next month.
Exactly.
Because they just take off.
Yeah.
For hitting. I'll never understand it. But all the little things then, after what we've talked about, it's just a bunch of little stuff that separates. Like when we first, you remember over at Smith, Ross and I did the very first sales frenzy.
Yeah.
Where we had, everybody in the place out on the weekend.
Yeah.
And I hadn't been in the business even 6 months at that point. And I was a team leader, and the rule that day was, it was in July and it was 108 degrees.
Wow.
On Saturday. And the rule was that the team leaders, whatever they sold, they had to give it away.
Okay.
Because everybody was promised a deal if you stayed all day.
Okay.
And I wrote 5.
Wow.
And had to give them all away.
Oh man, that's hard to do.
Oh my gosh, I'll never forget that. But it made it made you focus. It created the focus. I'll tell one more, and if you whatever else. Knowing how to do the number. A guy said, "I'm going to do 30," and I look at him and I go, "How?"
Yeah.
Tell me how. Because I know how.
Yeah.
I know how to do 60. I know how to do 100. I've done it.
So if they tell you how, and then if they don't get it, it's work ethic.
That's right.
Or if they tell you how and they're wrong, you're like, well, you're missing this.
Yeah. You're never going to get there doing that. That's right. So I get a phone call in 2004 of October, and Mike Shirley will remember this. I get a phone call from a manager, and I had just met Holly, and I'm just spending all free time over there.
Sure.
And I've never had a bad month in this business, never. But I'm on 15 with 4 days left in the month, and one of them's a Sunday, right? And so there was a guy that had been the top guy on a semi-regular basis at Hawk before I came, and he got a little feelings hurt or whatever, and so he with 4 days left of the month, and he knew it. I get a phone call from Alvin Lynn.
Yeah.
Alvin says, "Hey Jack, I got a message from you from this guy. I'm not going to name it." I said, "Really? Okay. What is it?" He goes, "He said to tell you that he's going to get your ASS this month." I said, "Now look, man, are you just telling me that
To play me.
to play me, or did he really say that?" He goes, "No, he really said it." And I said, "Okay. You tell him. I mean, when you get off the phone, you call him back, and you tell him he better do 40." And Alvin goes, "Well, do you know what you're on?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Do you know what he's on?" I said, "No, don't care."
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, he's on 39." I said, "Well, he better sell one more." I'm just telling you. And so I went out and I wrote. It was a Friday, a Saturday, and then Sunday I didn't work, and then a Monday. And I wrote 25 deals in 3 days, walked them up. One on fell credit.
Yeah.
He went out on Sunday and got one and made 40.
Beat you 40, 39?
Yeah.
Wow.
But the deal was, you told a guy, now, all I can do is what I can do.
Sure.
But I know what it takes to do that. Elite producers know, Now, I am not, and I'm not, and Mike and them, they correct me all the time, but the deal is, you got to be real with yourself. I'm not an elite producer anymore. Now, I can do an elite number whenever I want to do one.
Sure, because
But now, I don't, I'm reaping 20 years of doing that kind of stuff, it's that saying that I told you that always gets me. I make it a point, even now, when it's horrible weather, I go out and go to work.
Yeah.
I go to work on those days no matter what, on purpose. This Eric Thomas, this guy, he goes, that's what we call beast days.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to be a beast until it comes time to do what a beast does.
Sure.
But this is just, how much better business job can you have?
Oh, no. You set your own hours.
You set your own hours. You set your own pay.
You reap what you sow.
Drive around in an air-conditioned car and then just jump out real quick, go knock the door.
Yeah.
Jump back in an air-conditioned car.
Yeah.
It's
a lot of freedom.
Yeah.
Guys got to respect and handle.
He's got to manage the freedom.
Yeah.
Yeah. You got to learn how to manage it. And then you got to know. That I don't want to hear. Guys come up. Well, I had a flat tire. I had a fight with my wife. Yeah, me too. Yeah. So did Tim. Yeah. So did Kyle. So does everybody. You know what
exactly.
I mean?
Yeah, we're throwing a touchdown, but they blitz me. Well,
yeah.
There's going to be blitzes in the game.
Yeah.
There's going to be fumbles. There's going to be interceptions. There's going to be everything.
Yeah.
Figure out how to win.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, I appreciate the time today.
Hey, man.
Thanks so much.
Love you. I appreciate you.
I love you too, buddy. Thanks, man.
All right, cool.